Hello, I'm Scottsdale City Council Member Guy Phillips, and welcome to Scottsdale's Property Tax Bond Round 3. That's right, the city has asked the voters to raise their property tax twice, and twice the voters have rejected it. So instead of being fiscally prudent, they decided to try it once again. By the way, the city's cost for the special election, $500,000. That alone is enough to pay for 2 of the bond items. In this video, I will show you how the city tries to get you to voluntarily raise your taxes, even though we already collect enough taxes yearly to fund these projects. Our first clip is the Public Works Director explaining upcoming city projects and where the money comes from.
And I will direct your attention to the bottom of the slide, give you an idea of the long-term viability of this plan. The numbers in yellow at the bottom are what we project to have left in our cash balance at the end of each year. And you can see that somewhere towards the end of the second year of this plan, fiscal year 2016-17, we run out of money. At this point in time, we either need more money or less spending, to put it simply. The more money can come from several places. It can come from unreserved fund balance. We can't count on that. We're not showing that. It depends on whether or not there is unreserved fund balance available. It can come from additional property sales. We're working on some of that. It could come from bond proceeds, which is, again, the subject of the discussion that we're going to have next week. The less spending could also come from several different sources. We do achieve savings as we close out complete projects, and they reflect in an increase in our available funding at the end of a year.
Thank you, Mr. Worth. Notice one of the projects was Fire Station 613, which was added to the property tax bond election as an unfunded project, even though it was in the list of the 5-year capital projects. This next clip is Mr. Worth explaining why the city wants to spend another $500,000 on architectural services for the same fire station that was taken off this capital project list and put on the bond tax list, even though voters haven't even approved it yet.
The intent is that if we go forward with a design now and the voters approve a bond, we'll have a design ready at the time that the funding is available from the proceeds of bond sales. If the voters don't approve the bond, the funding source would be general fund CIP. That's how it's shown in the current CIP budget. If you remember back to the presentation I made a couple of meetings ago, by the end of fiscal year 16-17, we are pretty tight as far as the availability of general fund CIP funding, and we may have to make a decision at that point in time, but the way it's programmed right now, we intend to have that funding available for construction at the beginning of fiscal year 16-17, which is 15 months from now. Generally a year or so for design. That timing would work very well.
Isn't it wonderful how this all falls into place? Finally, this last clip is Mr. Worth informing the council he is removing the planned items from the project list until after the bond election, so you, the low information voter and property owner, won't get confused.
Projects in the area north and south of the freeway in between Scottsdale Road and Pima Road, that's about a $22 million reduction, $11 million of which is general fund. Those projects are still going to be on our list of high priority requirements. They're still going to be put into the prioritization process when we develop next year's proposed CIP. They'll still be there for us to look for alternative sources of funding for them, but we are just simply not going to present them as though we have the funding identified for them, and that should make it a lot simpler and a lot easier for the public to understand.
And so there you have it, $100 million in projects that were already planned but put aside until after these bureaucrats could find out if you're willing to tax yourself for 25 years at 2 to 3% interest. So ask yourself this question: what will the city do with the general fund revenue that was originally slated for these projects if you do decide to raise your property tax? Well, I guess that's the $100 million question. So in conclusion, I urge you to vote no this November 3rd to yet another unnecessary property tax increase. Please share this video with your fellow Scottsdale property owners, and I thank you for watching.